It's the premiere of Oh No, Ooh Yeah. This week, I talk about SmackDown from the 12th, Saturday night's main event from the 13th, and Raw from the 15th. Let's get into it. Run the music.
Into the ring, let the chaos commence. Sushi got the move, and you feel the suspense and grappling, slamming the crowd, getting louder. We suplex the statement, we're making them proud. Champions ride, but legends never fade. Underneath the spotlight, we ain't never played. Fire ignited, we dance in the war. Enemies tremble, can you hear the roar? Oh no, ooh yeah, can we go get it again? Oh, the fight, got left from the sacrifice.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Oh No, Ooh Yeah. My name is Sushi, or Sush, or whatever derivative people use. I'm the host for this weekly podcast. Well, maybe not the next couple weeks through the holidays, but you know what I mean. If you're coming over from my other podcast, We Should Pod That, which I co-host with my girlfriend Ashley, then you already know what I'm here to do. If not, this podcast is actually a spinoff of the pro wrestling segment with the same name from that aforementioned podcast, where I usually discuss the weekly WWE main roster shows, SmackDown and Raw, and WWE and AEW events. I'm going to keep things short with this intro so we can get into this week's coverage. But the name Oh No, Ooh Yeah, obviously, and actually connects to how I break down my coverage, basically splitting items for each episode into two lists. One with items I label as Oh No, which are low points, cons, whatever you want to call bad things. And the other Ooh Yeah, which would be high points, pros, or whatever you want to call good things. I also covered WWE PLEs and AEW pay-per-views in a letter grade format for each of the matches, along with some comments, followed by a letter grade for the event overall, and then some overall comments. With that said, I'm going to get started. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to hit me up on social media. There should be a link in the description to send me a text as well, so you can also do that. But let's go ahead and get started. SmackDown on December 12th in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Cons for the night. Item 1, the goddamn Cody Rhodes-Drew McIntyre conflict rages on. If this storyline weren't so inconsistent and uncharacteristic, especially from Drew McIntyre, maybe I wouldn't hate it so much. But we all know Drew's good enough of a competitor to not need to resort to these sorts of antics. I mean, he should just take Cody clean. Sure, this plot might serve the point of having Drew be a, quote, frustrating heel, but it's just been dragged on too long without any real resolution, and it's lacked any real fire, aside from maybe Cody's acting frustrated and everything like that. Next item, The Miz needs a better storyline. Sure, I get he's a heel, but he's just been annoying, and WWE seems to overestimate his current relevance. I mean, I get Javon Evans is really over. I personally love watching the dude wrestle too, but can we not give him someone more interesting to wrestle and beat than The Miz? The upside is that Evans wins over The Miz, even though The Miz tries to cheat by grabbing onto his tights for the pin. That was a nice touch, I think. I'd say wrap up the stupid storyline with Mello before moving on to something else. But I just think somebody in WWE feels the need to keep having dude on TV weekly when he really doesn't have anything important going on with his character. I personally like The Miz as a wrestler and a personality, but I just don't think the storyline's working for him right now. And then the last item that I have for Oh No this week is, can we get Jade in some matches again? Seriously. I wouldn't even care if she were severely undermatched for a little while, even going up against Meechin or B-Fab again. I get it's a slow episode, but, you know, either give us a match or you can honestly skip the update this week. We got a lot going on coming up. Saturday night's main event, we're seen as having his retirement match, and then all these showcase matches too, along with it, so you know, we promise we won't care if you just skip that stuff. Moving on to Ooh Yeah, the pros of the episode. the U.S. Championship Open Challenge. Man, Dragunov just gives maximum effort from promo to match. If and when he finally loses, I swear it's just going to be that he's tired of defending the championship with so much effort. I mean, the man bled for all of us this week, goddammit. And this week finally got Dragunov versus Ciampa. That jackass has been beefing with Dragunov for weeks now, but we finally got a match between the two of them. But even with that, Ciampa can't even seem to manage without both Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae sneak attacking Dragunov. Regardless, Ciampa still ends up losing, even after following up with a running knee. It was surprising, but made sense that Carmelo Hayes came out to help out Dragunov after Ciampa interfered with the U.S. title opportunity the week before. Maybe this will give Melo an opportunity to finally break free of his beef with The Miz, but I think that's more wishful thinking. Next item. Lash Legend gets a push and a nice intro with a solo match against Alexa Bliss. Nia Jax takes an opportunity to interfere with the match by attacking Bliss while the ref is turned away. Charlotte gets payback on Nia, but unfortunately Lash follows up with her own attack and then returns to the ring, avoiding a DDT from Bliss and countering with a Lash extension for the win. I don't even care that Lash didn't get a clean win, since I think it'd be too early for that. But we did get a great showcase of her strength and ability, and this definitely helps support any potential storyline with her and Nia going after a women's tag team titles. Next item, we get to watch the Terror Twins take out Aleister Black and Zelina. This match was pretty botchy near the end and admittedly less exciting than I expected. But anyone who's hated Black and Zelina's whole beef with Priest over the past few months finally got a chance to enjoy them getting a beatdown from Priest and Ripley. Hopefully this match is either a sign of more interesting things to come for Damian, Black, and Zelina, or at least an increase in the frequency of mixed tag matches. Sure, mixed tag matches often are taken less seriously than other matches because the main roster doesn't have a mixed tag title, and WWE doesn't frequently have wrestlers attacking the opposite gender, at least in comparison to another promotion like AEW. But I definitely feel like a post-Unreal WWE can afford to lean a bit more towards the entertainment side of sports entertainment without too much backlash. I mean, they seem to have fared really well with AJ Lee and CM Punk versus Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, right? Next, let's talk Saturday night's main event, John Cena's retirement match and NXT showcase. That took place on December 13th in Washington, D.C. This is just going to be, again, a run through of each of the matches with a letter grade and some comments, and then an overall grade for the event and some comments. First match, Cody Rhodes versus Obafemi. I gave it a letter grade of B-. The winner, it was a no contest actually due to interference from Drew McIntyre. I'm just so tired of the whole Cody versus Drew storyline, but apparently WWE isn't dropping it anytime soon, or else we wouldn't have them interfering in such a high-profile match. Sure, this is a good way to ensure neither champion, Cody nor Oba, walked away as a definitive winner. The only upside to this would be if we somehow revisit this match again in the next year or so, after things are settled between Cody and Drew. If nothing else, this is a great showcase for Obafemi for anyone who hasn't had a chance to really follow him over on NXT, myself included. Moving on to the next match, Bayley versus Sol Ruca. Letter grade for this, I gave it a B+. The winner was Sol Ruca. Man, I know I've seen Sol in some impressive matches, like her tag team match with Zarya against Charlotte and Alexa, which I think was a few months ago at this point. Regardless, it was great to see her again and see her get a clean win on Bayley. Sol looked really good in this match, delivered some amazing moves like the cartwheel DDT from the top rope. Holy shit. Honestly, if you haven't had a chance to check out this match in full, it's worth it. Also, shout out to Bayley for doing such a great job selling and putting the Sol over, or maybe at this point, even more over, by giving her a big win. I know I've been pretty irritated by Bayley's character these past few months, but, you know. Next match, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Leon Slater and Javon Evans. Letter grade for this, I gave it an A. The winners were Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. Man, I just hope AJ didn't get legit injured, falling while attempting the phenomenal forearm. seemed like he was wincing, and they kind of ended the match shortly after that. So I don't know. We'll see. This is another match that begs to be watched in full. These are two of the best high-flying tag teams in the business right now. Honestly, the only thing I could point to that gave AJ and Dragon an advantage over Evans and Slater was they were both veterans and maybe a bit more like built or muscular. Either way, both teams gave an amazing show. I hope this isn't the last time we'll see the match between these two teams. Moving on to the last match of the night, John Cena versus Gunther. Actually give this an A-. I'm kind of surprised myself. The winner was Gunther, obviously. I admit I wasn't entirely happy with the finish, but I completely understand why Cena did what he did. Most of it having to do with how much he loves the business and knows how there had to be a convincing end to his reign as the GOAT. But there's so many people who still weren't convinced that he was going to actually retire, but I think the decided outcome of this match was well suited to help people accept that a bit more, even though, it might have been a bit harsh. I'm no fan of Gunther's, but I do acknowledge his ability and why others might find him more appealing than I do. He's a wrestler in the modern era that's, in essence, a tribute to the old school archetype of wrestlers that WWE was kind of built upon, which haven't been very commonly seen since maybe like the 80s. So yeah, he kind of stands out. You can also tell that both men had a great respect for each other and had a great time. I mean, Gunther couldn't even help cracking a smile before Cena performed that Super AA on him. This was a feel-good match, again, even if I wasn't completely into the finish. Overall, for the event, I gave it a B+. This event was kind of bittersweet due to it being Cena's retirement, but at least the matches were fairly high quality when they were allowed to play out. My biggest disappointment was the Cody versus Femi match, but even with that, I think the disappointment was less about the two competitors and more about Drew interfering. I absolutely hated The Miz throughout this tournament, so I love when R-Truth confronted him, even though I hated the whole balls bit, and even more so with an appearance from Joe Hendry, which was great. Things are going to be fairly quiet event-wise between now and the next Saturday night's main event in Montreal, Quebec in January 24th, 2026. So I'm just looking forward to seeing what will be happening given the many injuries and modified storylines over the last few months of 2025. Moving on to Raw from December 15th in Hershey, Pennsylvania. For Oh No, first item is, why even have Gunther insult Cena after the guy's retired? Look, I get he's a heel, but to go as far as he did to say he made him tap out like a little bitch. The guy's retired and clearly had that, it was a good career look on his face before lightly tapping out. So, I don't know. It's not a big achievement, I don't think. And are we seriously teasing a storyline between him and AJ Styles? Like, to what end? So Gunther can maybe give us another mildly exciting retirement match for a wrestler who was already intending to retire and arguably deserves better. Can we not get someone else this time around? Next item, I'm so tired of Nikki Bella. So now her bit is that she's going around shouting exactly what, people have accused her of doing, which is leaning too much on her legend status from the Divas era. So WWE acknowledges this is what we hate and uses it as a part of her heel character. Okay, so I guess that makes sense, but I still find her incredibly annoying and definitely not in a hilarious Chelsea Green sort of way. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not with how her character is currently. So hopefully that'll change. Next item. What's really going on with Rey Mysterio's storyline? Is he in an ongoing feud with Logan Paul now? And is it somehow going to eventually lead to Dom's babyface turn? Or is this unrelated and going to push Rey and Dom reuniting farther into the future? I've honestly come around to Logan Paul as a wrestler, but I still think Rey would be better off somehow being involved with a Dom babyface turn. But maybe that's just me. I think Logan Paul would probably be better off against somebody like LA Knight. since WWE doesn't seem to want to give him main event status yet, Logan can continue to work and win over fans as a legit wrestler, and LA Knight can use overcoming him as an opponent as fuel for a run at the heavyweight championship. So, yeah, that's what I would do. Last item for Oh No, the whole Masked Man reveal should have happened pretty much immediately after everyone online identified him as Austin Theory. Nobody was surprised at the reveal, and Braun Breaker versus CM Punk overshadowed it immediately. Moving on to Ooh Yeah. First item, the Usos versus the New Day is something we've needed for the Raw men's tag team division. It was a great match that brought back memories. Definitely not the best for the Usos, as it seems like they still got to work out the rust, but both teams kept things fast-paced and exciting, so I'm sure it'll only be a matter of time before the Usos are back to where they used to be as a tag team. Until AJ Styles and Dragon Lee won the tag team titles from Finn Balor and JD McDonough, the Raw men's tag division has been pretty much at a standstill. But lately it seems like SmackDown even has been trying to focus on, improving its own men's tag team situation. So it'd only be right for the A show to do the same. Last comment about that is I love the New Day and Grayson Waller as heels. There aren't many active heel teams in Raw, so they definitely serve a purpose. And Xavier Woods especially is hilarious. If you haven't checked him out on social media, be sure to do that. He makes some great videos. Next item, I kind of like how they're treating the Raw Netflix anniversary like an event level episode. We got some serious PLE level title matches already confirmed for the January 5th, 2026 episode of Raw. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match between Kabuki Warriors versus Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between CM Punk and Braun Breaker. Next item, I appreciate what WWE is doing with Maxine Dupree. I really think this is one of the high points for WWE Creative's efforts lately because her story is engaging and believable. And I personally think she's so genuine that I really hope she continues to have a great championship run. Even though Maxine was clearly outmatched by Ivy Nile, the way she went about winning the match and retaining her title was believable. I definitely don't think Maxine would have the depth of wrestling knowledge that Ivy Nile has, but I can believe that she'd keep trying the moves she's worked so hard on and try her hardest before giving up, which I felt was exactly what happened in her match. Next item, I did the math, and I'm 141.2% chance into CM Punk versus Braun Breaker. Holy shit, man. The promos between both of these guys are hot. Like, both sides are insulting, but Punk does have the slight anti-hero edge on his side. But, Braun Breaker also just has, raw anger energy. So, it's cool. And then the last item I got for Ooh Yeah is I love Javon Evans' appearances on Raw, man. I just really do think he deserves to be in the main roster, especially if we're now including Ryo and then Bravo Americano on the Raw roster. I think they can make a spot for Evans either, here or on SmackDown. All right, that does it for all the coverage from this past week. Upcoming for events, we got on Saturday, December 27th, AEW World's End. I might not cover this since it'll be a week and a half since the episode won't come out until a week and a half after the event, but I might still cover it because we'll still have been only 2 episodes of AEW TV passed since the event, because usually when they do a pay-per-view, that means Collision kind of doesn't happen because it's more like the pre-show or whatever. And then for WWE, we actually don't have anything for quite a while. I mean, the January 5th Raw is going to be a big one, but for actual events, the next one coming up is actually not until Saturday, January 24th, 2026, which is Saturday night's main event in Montreal, Canada. And then shortly after that, On Saturday, January 31st, 2026, we have the Royal Rumble in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Thanks for tuning into the first episode. I'm going to try to put the second episode out next week, but with the holidays coming up, I'm actually going to be out of town. So there should be an episode, but I'm just not sure if it'll be for coverage of the upcoming shows on the 19th and 22nd, or some special episode that I'll pre-record before leaving town. Either way, make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast platform so you get the next episode. I'll be back to a normal weekly WWE show coverage schedule again, starting on Wednesday, January 7th, 2026, for sure. Also, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on social media, since those are the best platforms to get in touch with me and get any and all updates on the podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on the flip side.
To win, got to live on.